Squad update.
How are you, right? Yeah, good.
Squad update if you would.
Yeah, so what was there after last week? Kyogo progressing. He hasn't trained yet, so plan is to try and get him out there tomorrow and see how he goes. I think he's doing some individual stuff this afternoon, and he's progressed. He's still, but he always is still pretty bullish about sort of playing. So we'll just see how it goes. And Johnson's fine. He's trained all week, and Haksabanovic is back in, so he's available as well. So the only real absences are Aaron Moy still will miss, and I think that's it.
How much of a risk would you take with Kyogo? If he was running at 50, 60, 70%, was that some of the game that big that you put around that?
Yeah, and guided by him a little bit. He's we've done that in the past. He's had a couple of times where, he hasn't been, whether it's been a shoulder or, last year's sort of League Cup final, he went in with sort of a hamstring that wasn't totally healed. He scored a couple of goals, so I'll be guided by him. He's very strong mentally, So if he gives us a green light, then we'll put him in there.
On the match itself and the occasion, not many players or managers have the chance to claim a treble. Just how excited as you in the squad and put it in context of what it would mean for this club?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, obviously last year, it was the one sort of trophy that escaped us, and just the whole day, the occasion. It's the last game on the calendar for us, and just to be a part of it was the first thing that we're kind of excited about. And you want to win. You want to win whatever trophy you're up for, but making it a treble will make it a truly special season. And the group, I said last week, especially the players, have just been outstanding at maintaining a real sort of focus of each game being the most important, and that's what's got us to this place. Because I think, probably after we kind of won the league a few weeks back, very easy for them to sort of, let their minds wander a little bit. But last week they you can see they're back focused and ready to go.
And you're on the precipice of this treble, precipice of 5 trophies in 6 years. That's it, 5 out of 6 since you've come in. When you came in summer 2021, the club won a trophy the first time in a decade. You envisage that this could be possible in 2 years?
Look, I again, it's not sort of the way I'm wired. I didn't kind of project and say, well, this is where I want us to be. What I've said quite consistently is that, coming off a trophyless season, I knew that we had to bring success pretty quickly. Fair to say, I didn't walk in with too much fanfare. So, but irrespective of that, I think when you sort of manager this football club, there's an expectation that, you have success. And, we won the League Cup sort of 3-4 months into my tenure. So if I kind of put limits on it and said, look, we just got to win a trophy, we would have done that in the first 4 months. But I've purposely not sort of put any limits or real goals on what we could achieve. Just saying, let's just be the best football team we can, keep improving, keep pushing, and because as you mentioned, we went through a trophyless season, but we're also up against a team in Rangers that had finished 25 points ahead of us, who made a Europa Cup final last year, who won the Scottish FA Cup. So it wasn't like it's just a matter of us, getting back on track. We had somebody to catch as well. So, within the context of all that, the progress the club's made over the last sort of 24 months has been outstanding.
And just a word on Inverness. What do you expect from them, and how strange is it to not only play a lower league's opposition in the cup final, but also a team that haven't played a game in 4 weeks? Yeah,
look, it's not usual. I mean, I think it's not unusual here, and particularly a sort of lower league side, making it deep into a competition. But we've got to try and sort of put that to one side and just understand that it's a cup final, and irrespective of who you play, and irrespective of kind of, even the form of the opponents. I've said before that whatever form you got going to a cup game becomes really irrelevant because it's a one-off game, and when you're talking about a final and everything that entails. We're expecting a tough one, I watched the semi-final. It was a good game. Really good football played, and at that time, they were going really well. Unfortunately, they just missed out on the playoffs. But there's no doubt Billy Dodds will have them, primed and very motivated to, they've got a chance to create some, real story for themselves, and we've got to be at our best to make sure it doesn't happen.
And it's now being reported you are the preferred candidate for the Spurs managerial job. if anything, how has that changed the scenario for you this week at all? Has anything changed for you since we spoke about it last week?
No, somebody else's favourite last week, wasn't it? Doesn't register. I mean, I get all the interest in why people love to sort of speculate on these things, but we've worked really, really hard to get ourselves into this position, and for me to let my mind wander about anything else other than getting our team prepared for a big day on Saturday is it's just not who I am.
We spoke to Matt O'Reilly, Alistair Johnson. They were talking about blocking out noise. Alistair Johnson acknowledges though that players can't avoid the TV and see the stories quite often. Do you have to do anything in particular to block out that stuff and make sure focus does remain on the cup final? You're
making it sound as if this is the first time it's happened to me. We've done this dance a few times this year, so I think the players are well aware of where my thoughts lie. So, whatever it is, the players, like I said before, have been really good at just focusing on what's important. What's important is being ready for a big game on Saturday.
How do you handle the speculation, Ange? Because I guess it's part and parcel of football, isn't it? It's always around. Did you shut it off? Do you have a laugh and a joke about it? How do you handle it?
I handle it like, again, you're asking the question as if this is the first time it's happened this year. I've handled it before, so I'll handle it the same way. It doesn't enter my sort of sphere of thinking because, my role is to, make sure the team is absolutely prepared for whatever the next challenge is. And, far be it from me to say that if a cup final isn't enough to draw all my attention to that, then nothing will be,
I think it's fair to say that the levels were back at where you would want them to be last weekend. Did you kind of notice in training, has there been that kind of extra spring in their step, given they're such a late stage as well?
Look, to be fair, that training has always been good. I mean, we obviously, after the Hearts game, I guess from my perspective, it was, I could have taken a couple of different approaches, but when we beat Hearts, we were champions. We knew there were still 4 or 5 games to go, and my view was that when somebody has such a real defined goal and they achieve it, there's bound to be a letdown. And you look at every team around Europe that wins it, and with the games to spare, invariably there's a drop off. Now I try to counter that by being clever and changing the team around, and I think all that did was sort of disrupt our cohesiveness and our rhythm, because the guys coming in, to be fair to them, hadn't played for ages. So it didn't really work. But in the back of my mind, I always knew that the boys probably had Trophy Day and Cup Days, the days that that they'd be switched on and ready to go. And you saw on the weekend, they right from the first minute, they're really determined to be at our best. And so there's nothing at training that has changed. It's just probably for the guys themselves, there's real clarity now about what they need to achieve.
And you said that you've done this dance a few times before the season. You seem to handle the speculation really well, but the difference this time is that the end of the season is just 3-4 games away. Have you spoken to the people above you at the club? Are you expecting just to have a sit down with them or on Monday perhaps at the end of the season and discuss your future here at the club?
No, because again, that would mean me planning, organising, thinking about things other than Saturday. And it's just, look, I understand it, and like I said, I understand. You guys, that's your job, to ask these questions, because that's the role you're in. But you're not invested in this football club like I am, like the players are, like our supporters are. And like I said, for me, I wake up this morning thinking about one thing, the same thing I've been thinking about for the last sort of 7 days or 5 days, is that I really want to make sure that we play well in this cup final and make it a truly special season, because I don't know. I know this football club's had a lot of success recently, including trebles, but over the history of time, there aren't too many that can claim to that. So, not just for myself, for this football club, but for some of these players, it might be the only one they get. So we need to really focus on that.
Well, a great rapport with the fans. I think a lot of them are quite anxious hearing all this noise. Are you able to provide any sort of reassurance to the fans still going to be the manager next season?
Yeah, so you've just ignored every other question that's been said today, and you're trying a different way. Good on you, well done. Again, our supporters want to roll up on Cup Day and celebrate and make sure it's a special day. because anything I say now will mean absolutely zero if we don't win on Saturday. I can tell you that. So that's where my focus lies, because that's my responsibility. So that won't change. I've been pretty clear on that, and I'll continue to be clear on that. It's a massive role to be manager of this football club, and for me to be dismissive of potentially our biggest game of the year is not going to happen.
Scottish Cup final, something that you would watch when you were younger, or maybe Celtic supporting teammates in Australia? Is it something you've always kind of kept an eye on and got your memories of?
Yeah, I have, because it was kind of back home it was English FA Cup followed by the Scottish FA Cup was kind of tradition. That was our sort of Saturday night in May or June, whenever it was, and we would religiously watch that. It was a bit of a an event for us to sit around and watch those two games, and because like I said, it's not just that it's a cup final, it's the occasion, it's the last game. There's always more about it, just the whole ceremony of the day, and you love to be a part of it, and I didn't watch it last year, so it goes to show you, I was still, we were still hurting from the fact that we weren't there. So now we're there, and that's why, because we are there, we want to make the most of it.
So what's about history with Inverness and Celtic in the Scottish Cup as well?
So I've been told, mate, quite a few times. Yeah.
Is that a kind of a warning maybe?
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's a cautionary tale, put it that way, and it's been mentioned to me a few times, so which I was aware of it anyway, of course, but that's what I'm talking about. When people kind of think that I've got other things on my mind, that I would allow anything to enter the sphere where we're not preparing ourselves for that occasion. I don't want to be that story. I want it to have a different ending this time. I want it for us to be the winners, and us to claim the Scottish FA Cup. So that's where my head's at.
A few extra thousand Celtic fans as well get the extra tickets. I mean, that's just another almost string to your bow that you've got that extra noise when you walk in. Yeah, look, there's obviously some conjecture around Hampden as a venue and stuff, but from my perspective, when we've been there because of the split in fans and the atmosphere, I've loved every game there. Obviously, we're going to outnumber the Inverness fans, but I'm pretty certain the Inverness fans will do their best to be heard on the day for sure. But I love that sort of colour, the fact that there is opposing fans in there, the atmosphere. Like I said, there's a lot of ceremony around FA Cups, and it's going to be great, and hopefully the weather looks like it's going to be good, and like I said, it'll be a great occasion.
Chance to break world record as well for most number of domestic trebles. Where would that rank in your personal achievement as a manager?
Well, it's not my world record, so that's the first thing. It's the club, so that's on the back of other managers, other players who have built this club. But like I said, that's the responsibility you carry, and every time you achieve something at this football club, every trophy is marked. It's heralded in the right way and sort of celebrated. And as I said, it's quite extraordinary when you think the amount of having a quadruple treble sort of in one space in time. You might see it over a 30 or 40 year span, but to see it in such a short space of time, and our opportunity to bring another one there is it is incredible. It's just astounding, the success the club's had, but we've got to do it. That's the main thing.